about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me, and no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai.
UAE Championship, certified by FIA, launched by the current FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem all the way back in 2016. And what a venue to go racing on, the brand new Kuwait Motor Town circuit designed by the Formula 1 architect Herman Tilke. And this is very much the dawn of a new age. Other than the 12 hours of Kuwait, nothing has raced here in the past. So this is an absolute door opener for this amazing circuit, this amazing country. And the longest racetrack in the Middle East, longer than both Yas Marina and the Dubai Autodrome. This is a fabulous facility, and we're just taking our first baby steps for what this circuit can provide in international competition. How wonderful is it then that the F4 UAE Championship really gets the first taste of it. As you can see, it's very different to what the weather was a few days ago for round 2. Now you can barely see the final corner looking up the straight. It is such a challenge. The temperature has dropped by about 10 degrees Celsius on the track, about 7 degrees in the air. So let's see what happened in round 2. It was a fabulous race weekend as we battled for round 2 of this phenomenal F4 UAE Championship. It was always going to be exciting from the get-go, but it's definitely been a really exciting challenge from the off. All the drivers gave as good as they got on this new Kuwait Motor Town circuit. James Wharton began his championship attack in earnest with a fabulous drive to victory in race 1 and second position in race 2. But Ugo Ugachukwu was still in relentless form as he finished on the podium once more in the first race and returned to the top step in the second. The biggest drama of the weekend, however, was at the start of race 3. Ugachukwu collided with Tuka Tarpanen, putting the talented Finnish rookie out of the race, and meaning that James Wharton had to avoid the chaos, finishing out of the points. Arvid Lindblad was plagued by bad luck too, and he couldn't score anywhere near the points he deserved to. There were plenty of other drivers putting in great showings. Valerio Rinicella finished second twice over the weekend to move himself up into second in the driver's standings. Théophile Nile for France and Valentin Klus for Germany showed a great turn of speed throughout the weekend. And Noah Lyle, the Australian, made a huge stride up the grid, finishing the weekend on the podium. Keanu Al-Azari of the United Arab Emirates scored Yas Heat Academy's first points of the year, and his countryman, Federico Rifai, matched his XL teammate Lyle for pace, scoring points in the process. But the true hero of the weekend was Zachary David of Malta. He had threatened to be fast from practice, and in race 3, when the opportunity came to win, he dominated and drove away, becoming the 4th different winner this season. Elsewhere, Kanato Lee and Jacob Bergmeister were able to walk away from this nasty start line incident in the second race. Fortunately, there were no injuries. And Bianca Bustamante was much faster this weekend, although it didn't stop her efforts, ending in tragedy as she tangled with Lena Beulah in her final race. So Ugachukwu still leads the standings by 31 points to Rinicella, with Wharton up to 3rd and Tarpanen and Lindblad now being caught by Zachary David. Arvid Lindblad is still ahead in the rookie rankings, but only by 4 points ahead of Tuka Tarpanen. And the Mumbai Falcons lead their sister outfit Prema in the team standings by 26 points. So in the rookie standings, it's still very close up at the top spot. 4 points in it. And in the team standings, Prema and MP Motorsport are doing all they can to catch the Falcons. What a difference a few days makes, eh? You can barely see the safety car as it sits on the front of the grid. This mist and this fog is definitely going to be a big challenge for the drivers by comparison to what we saw a few days ago. No, you do not need to adjust your set. That literally is what we can see. Feline Wang is with our pole sitter for race 1.
Ugo, the others are starting to catch you now. Can you still hold on to the lead?
Yeah, we will see. It should be quite a competitive race. Long run into T2, so yeah, we just need to do our job again, try to get a clean start, and then we'll see if we can pull away.
Good luck with the race. 那刚刚我问到 Ugo 呢，因为现在呢，其他的车手呢也是赶上来了。那么他如何保持领先的位置呢？他希望呢，他有一个非常干净的起步，同时在T2的位置呢，可以拿到一个好的位置，同时呢，保持领先的位置。Back to you guys.
Thanks, Feline. Great to hear from Ugo Ugachukwu. And yeah, that is a very interesting factor. Holding on to the lead is probably harder than claiming it in the first place. Once you're in the lead, you know that you've got a target on your back. Everybody wants to come at you and go for the overtaking moves and make their way steadily up the grid. So overtaking is obviously going to be a guarantee in the F4 UAE Championship. Sometimes you can have more racing in the course of 23 minutes and 1 lap of F4 UAE than you can in another form of racing over the course of a weekend. There really is something for everyone in this sport. There is James Wharton, the man whose mission is simple: catch the American up front in both the race and the championship standings. He goes second off the grid alongside pole sitter Ugo Ugachukwu, who has won half the races in this F4 UAE Championship campaign. We've had 6 so far, and the American from New York has won 3 of them. James Wharton, the Australian, lining up alongside him on that second position of the grid. There is the man who is second in the championship standings, though, Valerio Rinicella, who moved his way up with a very solid weekend on Friday and Saturday in the week just gone, and has moved himself right up into championship contention. He starts way back in P7 on the grid for this one, though. This man is a real danger man today. Noah Stromsted from Denmark. What an amazing challenge he has put in. 3rd position on the grid from absolutely nowhere. The PHM racing driver has had good speed and pace, but never before today has he looked like challenging for the win. Today could well be Noah Stromsted's day. There is the man who did take the victory in race 3 on Saturday, Zachary David. He carries both the Maltese and Philippines flags on his race suit. He is a dual nationality competitor, and he is there for the R-Race GP team. 4th position on the outside of row 2. 5th on the grid is Jesse Carrasquedo, the talented Mexican. 6th on the grid is Arvid Lindblad, the Red Bull junior driver. Check out the mist, though, on the main straight. It is very thick indeed. I should point out the drivers can see a little bit more than that camera indicates, but not by much. The mist has really come in thick and strong over the course of the day. And as you can see, over the oasis in the middle of the circuit, the wind has picked up, and there is a big gust of wind blowing over the circuit. We could well have rain over the course of today. This is a really tricky situation for all of the drivers here, and the tough battles that come our way. For those who are watching F4 UAE Championship racing for the first time, get a good seat and grab up some popcorn while you're at it. You're in for an absolute feast. The drivers at the front end of the grid battling for their place in the future of motorsport history. The top 2 men on the front row of the grid are already in a Formula 1 junior program. Pole sitter Yuga Wugachukwu of the United States is part of McLaren's Formula 1 junior driver program, and alongside him the Australian James Wharton wears Ferrari colours. The 1-minute board goes up. Now the format of this race is very simple. It's a sprint race, so there are no pit stops. 23 minutes plus 1 lap after that time has elapsed. So it is a fabulous situation for all of the contenders, but we are ready for an exceptional and exciting battle as the contenders get ready for an amazing show. So the cars are into position. We will talk you through the grid on the rolling lap. There are more fans here for this week than there were at the weekend, which is a very interesting indictment as Kuwait starts to open up to the possibility of motorsport on the world stage on their back garden. 15-second board goes up. The engineers are ready too. It's going to be a very tough race here, tougher than it was a few days ago, because there's less to see around the circuit with this thick fog and mist in the air. The crosswinds are strong, so they can catch the drivers out. Here we go. 38 cars in the field now stretch their way around the formation lap. It's a huge grid. So let's talk you through the runners and riders. In the positions they'll start, Yuga Wugachukwu on pole position alongside the Australian James Wharton. Row 2 of the grid is Noah Stromsted, a great performance, alongside race 3 winner last time, Zachary David. Jesse Carrasquedo of Mexico, alongside the Red Bull young gun, Arvid Lindblad from Great Britain. Valerio Rinicella, the Italian, alongside Hiya Yamakoshi for Japan. Then Tukka Tarpanen, 9th position. He needs to make some gains alongside Kanato Lee, the Japanese driver. Keanu Alazari flies the flag for the United Arab Emirates alongside Germany's Valentin Klus. Nicolas Lacorte and Dion Gauda sharing the 7th row of the starting grid. Then it's Théophile Nal of France alongside his countryman Raphael Narak. Row 9 of the grid sees Will McIntyre and James Pizik, the high-tech teammates. Row 10, Noah Lyle and Akshay Bora, the Australian and the Brit. Federico Rifai lines up alongside Emilie de Geus. On the 12th row of the grid, it is Alexander Abkasava and Theo Jensen, the Latvian and the Dane. Row 13, Bianca Bustamante, penalised after her race 3 incident last week, and Jack Beaton of Australia beside her. Rishon Rajiv, the new boy for Mumbai Falcons, alongside Matteo Quintarelli. And then Kai Daryanani, the Pinnacle VAR driver, beside Lena Beulah for R2 Race Cavassel. Sebastian Murray for Cram and Alexander Bolduev for Excel. Row 16 of the grid, Georgi Zhiravsky alongside Victoria Blokina. Then we have Jacob Bergmeister beside Hamda Al-Kubaisi, PHM versus Yazheat. Flavio Olivieri and Luciano Morano complete the field. So a very tough battle for all of the contenders as we race into the mist and the fog. It's a tough race circuit at the best of times. Drop the temperature by 10 degrees and drop the visibility by about 12%. And that isn't going to make life any easier. It really is going to be a tough situation. The only change of driver lineup from round 2 a few days ago to round 3 is that Mohammed Ibrahim has got out of the Mumbai Falcons car and given it to his countryman, the fellow Indian Rishon Rajiv, in the hope that Rishon Rajiv will do a good job over the next 2 races. Team principal Moy Tongakar is quite clear. Whichever driver has done the best over their 2 outings in the car will get the seat for Yas Marina. It could be Rishon, it could be Mohammed, we'll have to see. But certainly in the championship battle, there are 3 men battling for the honours. Ugo Ugochukwu, Valerio Rinicella and James Wharton. But there are drivers catching them up. Tuka Tarpanen and Arvid Lindblad are not far away. And in P6, Zach David has now got his first win. How many more could he achieve? We'll have to watch for Noah Stromsted as well. So this is going to be a really exciting battle. All the mechanics and engineers are ready for these boys and girls to go racing around Kuwait Motor Town, the longest racetrack in the Middle East. Longer than both Yas Marina and the Dubai Autodrome, and a real challenge with elevation changes, tight apexes, long flowing sweepers, chicanes and long straights. The run to turn 2 is the one we need to watch this time. Turn 1 is flat on the throttle. So the final cars come into position on the starting grid for the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship, round 3 to get underway. The final cars are lining up. Luciano Morano will take up the final spot on the starting grid. 38 cars in total in F4 UAE 2023. The final cars getting into position. We're ready for the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship. Round 3, Race 1, 2023 to get underway. Ugo Ugochukwu and James Wharton on the front row of the starting grid. The championship battle is really taking height now as we gear ourselves up, ready for Race 1. The lights are out, let's race at Kuwait. A great start for Ugochukwu, not bad at all for Wharton. Stromsted gets a reasonable one, so the top 3 run together in formation, and there's a car barely moving on the straight. It's Alexander Abkasava. He drops to the back of the field. Fortunately, everybody misses him, and as they head down, the lights are out, let's race at Kuwait. A great start for Ugochukwu, not bad at all for Wharton. Stromsted gets a reasonable one, so the top 3 run together in formation, and there's a car barely moving on the straight. It's Alexander Abkasava. He has to bail out of it, but it's a good start from Stromsted. He runs in front of Rinicella. Rinicella is up to 4th place. There's a spin in the tail end of the field through turn 2, but everybody else appears to have made it through on the opening lap. There's one car that spun it. Can't quite make out who that is, but we'll have to zoom in and figure out. I think it's one of the Pinnacles that has gone around there at turn 2. But we are battling away in a fantastic race rhythm. You can see drivers running a little bit wide there on the far side of the second hairpin, and that is the 88. That is Kai Darianani. A big shame for Darianani on cold tyres. So Kai Darianani, I'm afraid, has gone around. Look at the mist as they head through the second sector. You cannot see a thing. The fog and the dust really has kicked out. Here we go again, let's look as they come through. Now, how did Kai Darianani lose it? It looks to me as though he got pitched. I think he just locked wheels with another car. A few other drivers had to take avoiding action. Safety car, I think Darianani has stalled the car, and there's a few more cars in trouble middle way round the course. Well, now Darianani has got the car moving, but I don't think he's the only car in trouble, which is why we've gone to safety car. I think there's another car or so out of position. For those who are thinking this is all dust, it isn't. The cloud cover really has come in over the circuit. It's very different to the way it was a few days ago when it was bright, clear sunshine and blue skies. It certainly isn't today. Check it out. This is 2:36 in the afternoon, and this is what everybody can see. Absolutely daft. Well, Ugochukwu leading the way. Wharton in second and Stromstad third, so it's as they started. The big mover is Rinicella. Rinicella has moved up to fourth position. What a start. Zachary David in P5 from Lindblad and Tarpanet. Oh, Kai Darianani, I thought Darianani would have been able to get the car restarted. He certainly looked like he was trying to, but unfortunately he has had to park the car up at the turn 2 hairpin. Wow, goodness me. Now, I should point out that the cameras make this look foggier than it actually is, but it is really quite thick, the fog here. I wish I could paint the picture for you from my commentary box window. If I tell you that I'm stood on the start-finish line and I can barely see turn 19. Now let's have a look at the start again. This is how tough it was for everybody to avoid Abkasava. Oh, Luciano Morano. Fast reactions from the Frenchman, well avoided. Abkasava does get going again. Now, who's that off to the left? Someone's gone off the road there. I think that might be one of the R2 race Cavicels, just trying to avoid more contact on the way down the straight. The problem is, it's so foggy compared to yesterday that the drivers actually have to be very, very careful how they go about it. Well, they drop down the corkscrew, and then up through that long flowing left hairpin and the long flowing right hairpin as well. Wow, this is very, very tricky conditions. The safety car is going around, and I'm afraid we are under safety car conditions already, but this is a very tricky situation for all of the competitors out there. But Yuga Chukwu out in front of Wharton. The restart is going to be crucial. But the fog and the mist over the circuit here, it's obviously all magnified as well, the mist as well, the fog, because you've got to remember that we're not actually that far away from the ocean. We're quite close to the coast. So that means that the fog and the mist hangs in the air, very thick indeed at this point, because it's just soaking up the moisture from the sea, so it makes it very thick indeed to deal with. So let's see how they all compete, ready for the battle up front. Just think, 10 years from now, some of these drivers are going to be on the grid at the Indianapolis 500, the Le Mans 24 Hours, or even Formula 1. But what a starting point it is for these kids. And Yuga Chukwu leading the way, James Wharton in second from Stromstad and Rinicella, Zach David and the young Red Bull charge, Arvid Lindblad. So through the cars come onto the main straight once again, out of that final turn. Sun is trying to come out a little bit off to the left side of the circuit. But I thought it when I woke up this morning and looked out the window and thought, hello, we're going to have a bit of a murky one, and we certainly have. So we've got several drivers now just trying to get themselves into a good position. Only Kai Darianani out of the race. So let's see how things are going to progress. There are the teams at Prema and Mumbai Falcons. They're in next door garages. And Nohan Al-Badrawi on the live stream has pointed out that there is a 50% chance of rain according to the weather forecast. That's quite high. That's really quite high. So there is a potential for rain to hit the circuit here at Kuwait Motor Town. It's the only racing you're going to see today and tomorrow, that is for sure. Midweek motorsport. I like it. It's a good trend. Let's have some more, please, folks. So Kai Darianani is unfortunately out of the race after a spin on lap 1, but everybody else seems to have got away without damage. So we should be able to go racing fairly soon. But you've got to remember that the Bobcat that is recovering Kai Darianani's car has also got to be reset into its original position. It's in an awkward place around the circuit. There are the high-tech crew. I don't want to worry people, but that looks like a spot of rain on the camera lens. Might just be surface moisture from the wind, but I really hope that isn't going to be a major weather front hitting the circuit. But there is a 50% chance of rain hitting today. Safety car in at the end of this lap. Here we go. We're going to go racing again. So the lights have come off on the safety car, and our BMW safety car driver will back it up and come back into the pits. Yuga Chukwu, though, is holding the field up a bit, which is exactly what he's entitled to do. He gets to choose. He gets to dictate when he hits the throttle. It's up to James Wharton and Noah Stromsted to preempt when he goes. He has stopped weaving. He could just floor the throttle. He hasn't yet. He hasn't yet. They've got to be so careful. In the fog and the mist, they've got to be very careful here not to trip over each other. When is Yuga Chukwu going to go for it? Tighten up, tighten up. Now Yuga Chukwu thinks about it, decides not to go for it. They're going to come up over the top of the crest any moment now. And now Yuga Chukwu appears to have gone for it. There he goes. He's up to green flag racing conditions as he comes off the final turn. And we are ready to go to battle. And it's green, 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 green here in Kuwait. And it's Yuga Chukwu that leads the way from Wharton, Stromsted, Rinicella, David Lindblad and Toppinen. Through turn 1. And the driver's now on the run to turn 2. They are battling away. Pushing hard, pushing hard. So down to the braking zone. Are we going to see Stromsted having to defend here from Rinicella? Wharton trying to drive around the outside of Yuga Chukwu. Lindblad's made the charge up to P5. Good start on the restart from Lindblad. And then side by side. Yuga Chukwu having to defend big time from Wharton down the corkscrew. Wharton making a chance here on the inside line, but Yuga Chukwu closes the radius. Shuts him down. A very exciting run there through the first lap as Yuga Chukwu has to hold on big time from James Wharton. So this is going to be an exciting charge forward. They come through the S's, I can't even see. But Yuga Chukwu is just about in front, I think. Yes, that is Yuga Chukwu in front of Wharton, Stromsted and Rinicella. Then David has dropped back behind Lindblad and one of the Mumbai Falcons. That's got to be Tuukka Toppinen. So Yuga Chukwu from Wharton, Stromsted, Rinicella, Lindblad, Toppinen and David. Then I think it's Hio Yamakoshi. You can see the sun is trying to break through there at the far end of the course. But there's just so much cloud cover, so much fog in the air. Not easy for the drivers to cope with, especially considering that the temperatures have dropped dramatically. So the drivers making good work while they get up to speed again. Yuga Chukwu leads the way. Wharton, Stromsted, Rinicella, here's the move. Toppinen is side by side with Lindblad. Tuukka Toppinen up the inside, and that's going to be a perfect move. Zachary David's on the inside of him as well. Lindblad's got to hold this. Oh, contact! Lindblad spins around. He manages to keep going, but that has really hampered Lindblad's chances, and it's broken Zachary David's front right. Zachary David is out. Well, Zachary David is going no further in race 1. Lindblad lives to fight another day at the back of the field, but Zachary David will not continue. Meanwhile, Stromsted is still fending off from Rinicella. So Stromsted's got to keep Rinicella back. Rinicella's on the undercut. He's going to dive in for the inside. The back end slides, and Stromsted has to overshoot at the corkscrew. Rinicella around the outside, and the Italian's going to get there. Brilliant from Rinicella. Oh, monstrous racecraft from Valerio Rinicella. Really put Noah Stromsted on the back foot. And Rinicella storms through to third. Bellissimo. So Yuga Chukwu leads Wharton. Let's see what happened in the final turn. Now look, Toppinen's got the clean move on Lindblad. Zachary David sees the gap as well, decides he's going to go for it. Now Lindblad, look, he's left him plenty of room. And he just pulls across the tiniest bit too much. Zachary David is obviously there alongside him. So Lindblad and David, just miscommunication between them. Now watch Rinicella, the back end stepped out, but he's forced the error from Stromsted. So watch, he goes around the outside, he's got good acceleration. Wham, bam, thank you and good night. Into third place from Valerio Rinicella. Beautiful overtake, absolutely stunning, as Zachary David parks his car at the bottom of the straight. How on earth has he made it all the way down there? Well, as a result, he's got safety car on track. Well, that's unfortunate. So I'm afraid the safety car returns. Well, that was an interesting challenge there. But I'm afraid the Lindblad and David incident has caused another safety car. Chukwu in front of Wharton and Rinicella. But this is great news for Valerio Rinicella. Just one step at a time, a chance to regroup and go after the leading duo again. Now, they should be able to clear David's car relatively straightforward from there. As you can see, there is a recovery truck just off to the left. So they should be able to move Zach's car fairly reasonably. The safety car is trying to encourage them. Follow me. Go on to the other side of the circuit, boys. But the leaders are not really following him. There's a reason the safety car is on the inside line. It wants you to follow them. This is the thing when you're a youngster. You need to pick up on these visual cues from the safety car. There's a reason the safety car was on the far left of the road. That's because it wants all the other cars to follow its path. So the drivers just knitting their way down the corkscrew. And again, it's all about just being careful. Even down this section of the course under safety car, drivers hitting the curbs at the wrong angle are going to get the car slightly airborne. You've got to be really cautious. Well, Casper asks, do they have wet tyres that they can use if it rains? The answer is yes, they do. So a very interesting run. But at the moment, no need for rain tyres, although by the time we get to the Formula Regional race, there is a possibility. Look at the fog, goodness me. I have never known it be that thick before on a live race meeting. Now, any thicker than this, and it probably would be questionable whether we could race, but there is just enough vision. We obviously had qualifying in similar conditions to this, and the safety cars will have done the work around the circuit beforehand. The important thing is, can they see the apex in front of them if they are behind the wheel? If the answer is yes, then that's fine. And they can see the apex, they can see the car in front. So that's all right. It just looks worse than it is on the camera lenses. That's the difficulty. But even so, you can just about make out turn 19 from my vantage point in the commentary box. It's definitely harder to watch what's going on today. I will tell you the difference between the conditions. Right, this is a replay of something happening under safety car, is it? Oh no, this is Zachary David pulling out. So this is Zachary David putting out and actually going round turn 1, despite the fact that he had 3 wheels on his wagon. And somehow Zachary David made it to the very end of the straight leading up to turn 2. He made it all the way down the drag strip. So Zachary David not parking the car until turn 2. I would have had a feeling that he might have a conversation to have with the officials about that afterwards. Why didn't you park the car at the marshal's post a little earlier, my friend? Well, the rescue crew has got there and they've already cleared it up, so I think we're going racing this time by, potentially. But this is all going to add to the pressure, all going to add to the intensity of the situation. And before you chastise these drivers, just remember, they are 15 to 17 years of age, roughly. And this isn't like the world of soccer or cricket or tennis or rugby or anything like that, where all your practice matches, all your practice competitions and your training are done behind closed doors. In the world of motorsport, everything is live streamed these days. So all these mistakes and all these pressures are thrown at them from a very young age. There is no point criticising them for making mistakes. You'd do the same in their position. So Veda Vanilla asks a very suitable question. Is there a reason why they use time instead of laps for races? Well, yes, it's basically because at this age, there is only so much that the body can physically cope with, and distance is not always the situation. It's basically to give the drivers as much of a length of time of races as possible, but obviously if there are situations like this when you have safety cars, you've got to run to time rather than run to lap distance, otherwise you could be here all day. Safety car in this lap. So now Yuga Chukwu will back them up once again. So let's see how they run through. And already Yuga Chukwu's gone for it. He's gone very early, actually. He might find he meets the safety car. No, he's all right. He won't quite meet the safety car on the way down the back straight, but he was lucky there. So up to the final bend. And Yuga Chukwu has completely caught James Wharton napping. but Rinicella will have the slipstream. Wharton may pick it up from Yugachukwu as well as they come off the final turn. Little bit of a twitch from the American, but we are under green flag conditions. Green, 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 and we're racing again at Kuwait. So up towards turn 1, flat on the throttle, 5.5 to go. And the battles will rage from here on in. Yugachukwu, the American, is out in front of James Wharton and Valeria Rinicella. Noah Stromstead, Tuka Tarpanen, and Keanu Al-Azadi is up into P6. Great work from the young man from Dubai. Here's Wharton having to defend from Rinicella whilst also attacking Yugachukwu. He's in a rock and a hard place here, so Wharton's going to move to cover off Yugachukwu's defence. They're going to go side by side. I think we may have had a little bit of a spin at turn 2. I think I could hear some wheel spin. Oh, we have. That's Will McIntyre and Noah Lyle. So Noah Lyle and Will McIntyre, they managed to get going again, so we won't have a safety car. That's good. But I'm afraid the two of them have tangled at turn 2. So we go racing. But Yugachukwu, Wharton and Rinicella are having their title battle at the front end of the field in race 7 out of 15 in this 2023 campaign. Through the S's. And up to the 5 corners to the right in a row. 1, 2, then 3, then 4, and then you tighten in big time for the 5th. Here we go. There's the 5th one. You actually straight that curb if you want. And then in through the pair of left-handers that take you onto the acceleration patch. Then you're flat through the throttle again at turn 19. Oh, 2 more cars running wide in the background. They both keep going though. Oh, they really are running the gauntlet in this race, aren't they? And that's enough. That is one of the MPs. That's Emilie de Reus. So Emilie de Reus has gone off the road, and that's up at turn 14. She's trying desperately to get the car moving again, but I'm afraid that's going nowhere. We are told that the incident between Zachary David and Arvid Lindblad is going to be investigated after the race. Safety car again. Oh, this is not going to work. 3 into 1. Well, that's respectful. Lena Bueller goes wheel to wheel there with the number 12 car of Alexandra Abkasava and along with Luciana Morano, and they actually kept away from each other for long enough there. Wow, this is pretty tricky. Emilie de Reus, unfortunately, the car is just beached in the gravel. You've got to remember that it's much, much more slippery out on the course this time than it was 4 days ago when they first went racing. So it's not so dry out there. Yes, it is not raining, but thanks to the fog and the greasy conditions that come with it, it is a little bit more treacherous out there. And there's no point running on wet tyres because you'll have zero grip whatsoever. But even on dry tyres, you're really going to struggle, that's for sure. So the competitors trying to keep themselves in the hunt. A very difficult problem now because they're running short of minutes. But it's either that or you keep having red flags every time, and that just delays the procedure more and more. And the officials were very clear last time out. If you guys can't calm down, then it's the safety car that will run things rather than you drivers. So I can totally understand the need to bring the safety car out as many times as is needed. Great work from the marshals around the circuit though. In Europe we call them the Orange Army, but they wear orange or black depending on their job title. If they are recovery, they wear black. If they are marshals on the posts, they wear orange. They actually had a really nice gesture from the Formula Regional and Formula 4 drivers yesterday. They were actually allowed to have a huge group picture with drivers and marshals last night on the main straight. It was a really lovely scene. If you've seen the pictures, I'm sure you'll agree. But these guys really grateful for the marshals around the circuit. So the competitors are gearing up. The Yazzie team are in a really strong position here. Keanu Al-Azadi is there in P6 at the moment. They got a bit of telly time. Well done. Just showing you the competitive nature of this category. Premier Racing lead the way. Mumbai Falcons in second. MP Motorsport third. PHM fourth. 4 different teams in the top 4. Then Mumbai Falcons, Yazzie, High Tech, PHM again, Santalock and Pinnacle. Nearly every team is represented in the top 10. which is a real indication of how competitive it is. Now, if we go racing again this time, we're only going to get one racing lap, because the time is going to run down to 0 on this lap, and we get 23 minutes plus the additional lap. So this is going to be a very interesting challenge now for the officials. Can they get Emile de Geus's car cleared away quickly? They're certainly moving it now. And in fact, Emile de Geus has actually got going under her own steam. Now that says to me, we can go racing again now. They got her out of the gravel. So Emile de Geus can now try and catch up to the back of the field. The danger is averted. The course cars will get off the circuit. And I think we might just be able to get one green lap of racing left in this race. The time has run down to 0, as you can see, but we have 23 minutes plus the additional lap. The safety car is there. Any moment now we'll know if we can have one green flag lap of racing. Well done to the marshals and the officials for cleaning up de Geus's car as quickly as possible. Are we going to go racing this time? We wait for the confirmation. If not, we finish under safety car. Safety car in at the end of this lap, come on! That's what we wanted. That is what we wanted, folks. Well done to the safety teams. They're going to give us a one-lap sprint to the finish. Hugo Bogarchukwu, James Wharton and Valerio Rinicella. The American backs the pack up. And he's gone for it already. Hugo Bogarchukwu has got himself the opportunity and stretches it out flat on the throttle. The safety car is already in pit lane. So we're good. This is a green lap. And we're going to run to the end. Down the back straight, up and over the crest, and into the final bend. Oh, a big lunge from Stromstedt. He wanted to go for the move on Rinicella, but he can't until the finish line. So here we go. Green, 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 green. One last time. The last lap begins. So can Bogarchukwu hold on to it? Wharton's got to charge after him. Stromstedt's got pressure from Tarpinen round the outside. Tuukka Tarpinen up into 4th position. A great run from the Finn. And now he's got Rinicella on the run. And he's going to drive around him. Bogarchukwu trying to shake off Wharton, but watch Tarpinen. Tarpinen's going to squeeze Rinicella. He's 3rd. Tarpinen up to 3rd. Stromstedt round the outside. He's coming for 3rd now. And Stromstedt and Tarpinen touch. Stromstedt goes up in the air. Tarpinen's through to P3. Lovely from the Finn. Tuukka Tarpinen on the restart. And now Rinicella's down the inside of Stromstedt. He drifts wide, they both do. And Rinicella is through. Stromstedt's trying to get him on the switch. But it's enough for Tarpinen to breeze past into 3rd position. Tuukka the Tiger is up to 3rd place, and as they work their way through the S's again, Bogarchukwu from Wharton, Tarpinen, Rinicella, and in 5th is Noah Stromstedt. You can barely see them as they come through the chicanes. But as they head to the final section of the course, it is an amazing charge forward. But Hugo Bogarchukwu is going to hold on here, surely, from James Wharton, as they run through in close proximity. Wharton has done everything he can, but Bogarchukwu was right there when he needed to be. Tarpinen is the one who stormed his way through. Easily the driver of the race, Tuukka Tarpinen. What a great run from the Finn to get up to 3rd position. He's going to have Rinicella all over him like a bad habit in the final corner. But can Tarpinen defend? He's moved across to cover it. Rinicella will go the long way round, but Hugo Bogarchukwu is going to make it 4 wins out of 7. It's a victory for Bogarchukwu from Wharton. And side by side, Tarpinen just hangs on in front of Rinicella. Stromstedt has to settle for 5th in front of Al-Azhari. His best result of the year from Valentin Klus, Kanato Lee, Hio Yamakoshi and Teofil Nile. Brilliant run. Great racing. It was brief, but it was fine. Perfect. An excellent performance so far. So the checkered flag comes the way of Hugo Bogarchukwu for the 4th time out of 7. 2nd for James Wharton, but take a bow. Tuukka Tarpinen, Tuukka the Tiger, has come up to 3rd with an amazing drive on the final lap. He read the last lap beautifully and got himself into 3rd. this is just a brilliant step forward in the championship for Yugo Ugochukwu. I think he needed to win this one for his own peace of mind. He really needed to hold on in front of Wharton. He didn't want that psychological edge to go the way of the Australian going into tomorrow. And the American makes it 4 wins out of 7. It's very hard now to begrudge him as championship favourite. The American has done a fantastic job, the man with the plain silver helmet, in deference to Mario Andretti. Yugo Ugochukwu hoping to become the next American Formula One world champion. It's going to take him a while, because at the moment he's only in F4. But 10 years from now, the man who is currently a McLaren F1 junior from New York State, who knows? If he keeps going the way he's going, it's very tough to consider him anything other than a future American superstar. What a great job from Yugo Ugochukwu. Superb. Absolutely superb. Didn't put a wheel wrong in that race. Had to deal with 3 safety car incidents as well. The pressure of that must have been very tough. But Yugo is a very tough nut to crack. Great run from the Mumbai Falcons though. James Wharton and Tuka Tarpanen scoring big points here, 2nd and 3rd for them. Particularly from Tuka Tarpanen. That's one heck of a drive. But the American, Yugo Ugochukwu, continues his fine form. And the very quiet, very calm, almost shy American gets himself another victory. That's now more than 50% of the races this year that he has won. Excellent job. I thought that one through, says Yugo Ugochukwu. That required my head more than my heart. Great work. A very sensible and composed drive from Yugo Ugochukwu. Excellent young man, excellent talent. This kid is going places, ladies and gentlemen. A 4th win out of 7. There it is. Ugochukwu, Wharton and Tarpanen. A brilliant top 3. Valerio Renicella in 4th position from Noah Stromsted, ahead of Keanu Alazari, Valentin Klus, Kanato Lee, Hio Yamakoshi and Teofil Nal. Some great comebacks there in the top 10, particularly from Alazari and Lee. Then it is Nicola Lacorte in front of Akshay Bora, his best result of the season. Dion Gauda ahead of Rafael Narak. James Pizik, Federico Rifai, Rishon Rajiv climbing to 17th. Great work from the Indian, from Matteo Quintarelli, Theo Jensen, and another strong charge from Jacob Bergmeister. Then we had Alexander Cassava, very unfortunate at the start, but he climbed ahead of Morano, Olivieri, and Lena Bula. Jack Beaton ahead of Jesse Carrasquedo, very unfortunate, the Mexican. Sebastian Murray ahead of Georgi Janavsky, Noah Lyle and Will McIntyre, who collided, unfortunately. And then behind them, we had Victoria Blokina and Hamda Al-Kubaisi. It's a reasonable one, so the top 3 run together in formation, and there's a car barely moving on the straight. It's Alexander Kassava, and there's a car barely moving on the straight. It's Alexander Kassava. He has to bail out of it, but it's a good start from Stromsted. He runs in front of Renicella. Renicella is up to 4th place. There's a spin. Look at the mist as they head through the 2nd sector. You cannot see a thing. The fog and the dust start again. This is how tough it was for everybody to avoid Kassava. Oh, Luciano Morano. Fast reaction. Wharton trying to drive around the outside of Ugochukwu. Lindblad's made the charge up to P5. Good start on the restart from Lindblad. And then side by side. Ugochukwu leads the way. Wharton, Stromsted, Renicella. Here's the move. Tarpanen is side by side with Lindblad. Tuka Tarpanen up the inside. And that's going to be David's on the inside of him as well. Lindblad's got to hold this. Oh, contact! Lindblad spins around. He manages to another day at the back of the field, but Zachary David will not continue. Meanwhile, Stromsted is still fending off from Renicella. So Stromsted's got to keep Renicella back. Renicella's on the undercut. He's going to dive in for the inside. The back end slides, and Stromsted has to overshoot to the corkscrew. Renicella around the outside. The back end slides, and Stromsted has to overshoot to the corkscrew. Renicella around the outside, and the Italian's going to get there. From Renicella, whilst also attacking Ugochukwu. He's in a rock and a hard place here, so Wharton's going to move to cover off Yuga Chukwu's defence. They're going to go and that's up at turn 14. She's trying desperately to get the car. Green, 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 one last time. The last lap begins. So can Yuga Chukwu hold on to it? Wharton's got to charge after him. Tarpanen's going to squeeze for Nigella. He's third. Tarpanen up to third. Stromstad round the...
Yes, it's me. And no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me. And no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come.
Tuka Tarpanen and James Wharton then on the podium here at Kuwait Motor Town after great performances. But the man on the top step is once again Yuga Chukwu. He barely raises a smile, and sometimes, in terms of his ability to handle himself in the media, he makes Kimi Räikkönen look like William Shakespeare. But he does his job on the track. That's all that matters. Tuka Tarpanen is not only third position, but he's also the lead rookie. And that's important in the rookie points rankings. He will catch up to Arvid Lindblad in that rookie title race. But Yuga Chukwu makes it 4 wins out of 7. A great performance so far from our 3 drivers on the podium. And these 3 are definitely taking a proper step closer to international, world-renowned dominance. Yuga Chukwu, Wharton and Tarpanen, the 3 kings of day 4 of racing. So the battle continues in the title fight between Yuga Chukwu and Wharton, but Wharton will need to take a little bit more work tomorrow to get the job done. Fastest lap of the day, though, James Wharton. He will start in pole position for tomorrow's second race. So it's going to be a very intriguing battle tomorrow, that is for sure. And who's going to be starting second? Who else? Yuga Chukwu from Tuka Tarpanen in third on the grid. I can't wait for race 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great one. From Jake Sanson and from the whole team. See you tomorrow for race 2.
Yes, it's me. And no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams, but many to come. It's not just between the players, but also their machines. Sweat, not in the jerseys, but in their gears. It's about the race this time. Show up to cheer for Amchi Mumbai. Yes, it's me. And no, it's not cricket. But it's the same energy. It's not between the runs, but the laps. It's not between two teams,